out of the council's playbook and time everybody and switch you over a minute and we'll be stopped. Please go ahead.
Yeah, this question is for Madam Sudha. I am Admiral Sarath Weerasekera from Sri Lanka Navy. I was the Chief of Staff of the Navy, and I was in the active service from the beginning to the end of the war. You said you were in the panel of experts appointed by the UNSG, and in that you indicated, even just now, that the total casualty figure, the total number of deaths were about 40,000. But Lord Nesby, referring wartime dispatches of UK High Commission, has said that the figure is around 7,000 to 8,000. And also the UN reporter who was stationed in Sri Lanka, he also said that actual figure was 7,791. And it tallies with the government census carried out. So that means, my first question was, what made you to indicate that bloated and exaggerated figure? Number two is the world-renowned war crime experts, such as two experts, Mr. Rodney Dixon, QC, and Sir Jeffrey Nice, has said that POE report was full of contradictions and is highly flawed. And also, yes, highly flawed. So you are trying to charge General Jayasuriya. Is that to justify your flawed report, or what is your comment on that?
Please go ahead, yes.
How can you call somebody handed over to the army has disappeared? Because the responsibility is that the army took the people off. Because of the situation, it was like a prison camp. When they come in, it resembles the concentration camp of Germany, Nazi concentration camp of Germany, where they are brought in people with the mask and sewing the people with the head, and even the people don't know who was sewing. So that's the first question. How can you do that? Second one is that impunity crimes, and if they are not tackled, the Syria, now I attended a event, Syria is moving the people to one place, like what Sri Lanka did in 2009, and tried to bomb them within that lagoon. So Sri Lanka, the impunity of Sri Lanka have forced Syrian war to go to that extent. So the accountability of Sri Lanka is more important in this stage, so that we hold Syria responsible for the future accountability. Thank you.
In the north and east of Sri Lanka, and as a result of that recommendation, the Secretary General then ordered an internal inquiry managed by a man called Charles Petrie, who is incredibly respected in the UN system. And in fact, Charles Petrie confirmed a lot of what we had been saying. But Charles Petrie went one step further, and he actually said that he thought that the numbers were greater than we had estimated them to be. And I think the round he used was around 75,000. But he also made the point that when he spoke to some of the bishops and the clergy in Sri Lanka, they were speaking about more than 150,000 people who could not be accounted for. Then, of course, what you had was, I think, ongoing stories of torture in Sri Lanka and ongoing crimes that were happening after, in fact, the war had ended, and the ITJP began to receive statements from witnesses who were saying, listen, this thing is carrying on, and as a result of that, we then prepared our first report based on the ongoing violations after the 2009 period. And that, of course, I think with much of the clamor for justice by many, many victims victims' families led to the OISL, in fact, conducting their own inquiry under the auspices of the High Commissioner. And the High Commissioner's report spoke extensively to what amounted to war crimes and crimes against humanity, touching also on a range of other issues, like the way in which land had been taken by the military, they refused to return the land, and also the fact that you had so many people who'd been taken into custody, but from whom nobody had heard anything once they entered the rehabilitation process. And then that gave rise to discussion in the Human Rights Council. And so you then had the 2015 resolution, which Sri Lanka jointly agreed to support. And in that, they made a commitment around a transitional justice program, which includes setting up this internationalized special court, which would look at prosecuting these crimes. It also spoke to establishing a Truth and Reconciliation Commission, a Missing Persons Commission, and looking also at the question of reparations. And I think everybody knows that as the years have gone by, and despite the enormous support given to Sri Lanka, because it has been the site of enormous technical support from the UN and the international community, what do we have today? Perhaps only the legislation around the ONP, the announcement of the names of the commissioners many years down the line, and in fact, as far as the other institutions go, absolutely nothing. It is the obligation, as both we said in the panel of experts and in the High Commissioner's report in the 2015 period, it is first the obligation of the state, and I think Carlos showed you the relevant covenants, which puts the responsibility of the state squarely to investigate, to prosecute, and in fact to deal with the rights of victims. And so when you have that vacuum, and the state refuses to own its responsibility, then of course one has to look at